Hello, this is Gene. Please excuse the sounds that you're hearing other than what I'm talking about. People outside doing their lawns. Actually, they're not doing it. It's all the people that get their money by doing other people's lawn. I did mine this morning. And when I was finishing what I had to do, I want to get this out because in the last couple of days I've got more and more black pilled. And I think most of you know why. This is not the third or fourth or fifth um, apocalypse on YouTube. So we have several creators that are losing their channel. They're getting demonetized, and these are people on the alt-right. they're not they don't talk about the things I talk about, and I know that I'll never be taken down. I'll never be flagged for anything because I don't get any views. I get 30 or 40 people that watch me every now and then. But I still have to keep talking because, in the future, somebody might come across this and say this guy knew well ahead what was going to happen. And I try to be very rational on this channel. I try to be more logical. I try to stay away from emotions. Now, I've had a couple videos where I was very emotional, and sometimes you just have to be, especially when it comes to abortion and how female nature can be very toxic in our society. And that men especially do not hold women to anything anymore. We're trained to just allow them to do whatever they want to do, regardless of what it's going to do in society or to you or even your kids when you have them. And it sounds misogynist when you say you have to check your woman. Well, women give us shit texts all the time. They do things to see how we react to it, and it's considered okay. But when a guy says, I have to check my woman sometimes, and let her understand who is actually in charge here, then you'd be called a misogynist. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's going on now with our censorship online. And there's just way too many people have too much influence, and they're coming from the same tribe again. And there was a tweet came out today after all this started happening, and people are starting losing their videos on their channels. And now the ADL comes out and says it's just the first step, that YouTube needs to do more. And I'm like, why are they having so much influence? But if I say that is a Jewish entity, and if I say anything about what they're saying and I think it's wrong, that becomes anti-Semitic. And my governor went to Israel and signed in a law that says, basically by saying that's anti-Semitic, and if I was, let's say, a student going to university, a public school, that they could stop giving me funds, they could expel me from the school just because I have a opinion about this. Now, I've said many times on this channel that once the idea of free speech is lost, and there's only one place in the country and the world that we have it, and we're losing every day, and that's the United States. Once that's gone, it's over for the West. The left has won. The Arthurians have won. And all we're going to have is just like gaggles of people that have similar ideas being together, probably in not the dark web or something, or a different, oh, excuse me. I lost this. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I have a cheap setup. I just talked to my iPhone. I was hoping that they'd be done by now. It's like everybody's on my street. I think there's more than one or two of them going on, but I'm just going to keep talking. So the last couple of days I've been very black-pilled, and then of course when I saw the tweet this morning from the ADL, and I'm thinking to myself, as a European that's the founding stock of this country, at some point you have to say that this is a real threat to us. These people are 1 or 2% of the population. They want to say everything that's possibly could be critical to them or their beliefs needs to be banned, that you can't talk about it. guys like Crowder, who's the biggest shill there is. Now, of course, this has not been taken down yet, but he's always complaining that it's going to happen. But a guy like him, who is a comedian and just says stupid stuff, that now you can't have that either. We're the point where we're talking about, well, we're all so sensitive now. Now it's being weaponized by these companies, and I think a lot of it happened after 2016 when Trump won. Unfortunately, is that Trump hasn't done anything to stop it, and he is part of the problem as well. So when you get the euphoria when he wins, and you think that maybe there's going to be a nationalist type of thing in the United States, that we're going to cherish our heritage, and I don't give a shit what people think by that. If I say that I want to cherish my heritage, and I happen to be a white person, that should be fine. And if you're an African American and you want to be happy about Africa and where your ancestors came from, that's all fine and dandy too. But only one person is allowed to do it without being ridiculed and maybe losing their jobs, and that's us. So when people like the ADL or the SPLC, and they have so much influence in the tech companies, and our politicians who are elected don't do anything about it. In fact, they basically support it. When Netanyahu comes here, the premier for Israel comes here, and both sides clap with him. There's no dissent. The idea that we're not a country, that we are basically a puppet for Israel. And by saying that, if I was going to school, if I was a young guy saying this shit, I might not be able to go back to Florida State, let's say, if I was supposed to go there. If I had this YouTube channel that had 400 or 500 people watching it, and then it gets flagged and gets sent to the government, the governor's office, the next day I may not be able to play or go back to school, because I have an opinion about what's their influence that they have, and we just allow it. And we can say at the end of the day, woe is us, but we have sit there and allowed this to happen. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Either you're going to have people that are unhinged, and they're going to do something. It's not going to be anything on a huge nationwide way, but people are going to get killed. You cannot continually do this stuff and think you're going to get away with it. I guess in the long run, I think they can have it. All we can do as creators, no matter how small we are or how big of our outreach that we have, like Owen Benjamin, who doesn't talk about the stuff I talk about, and he thinks he's the guy. He's the most edgiest person on the internet, and he's not. He's not even close. He's just another rung lower than Crowder with more comedic shit. He talks about the Jews. He talks about stuff like that, but he won't really say what's going on with it. He just goes through a little. I don't know. I mean, I've talked about him many times. So it's the guys that have absolutely no outreach, like me or somebody like Owen Benjamin. We just continually have to talk and wake up more people. Nick Fuentes, guys like that. And I feel so bad. And again, I don't think it's really going to affect me too much. But I worry about my kids. And if they ever have kids, their kids. They can sit there all kumbaya right now and think it doesn't really matter, that we're all going to love each other and all that shit. Look, that's just putting your head in the sand. Once people have more power, I don't care if it's Hispanic or black people or Muslims, it doesn't really matter. They're going to turn around and say, it's been your fault all this time. And because we deserve it, because we did all this stuff, even though it wasn't us. Personally, it was maybe somebody in your ancestry line. I just don't know what to do. So I'm so black pilled at this point, and I really wish I had a huge outreach. So somebody can come to my channel and ban it or something. But I'm just going to be a guy that's sitting on the internet no one's really going to give an issue, care about what I have to say. I guess it is what it is, you know. And if we sit there and allow it to happen, and everybody says, "Don't talk about it, violence. Don't. It's all non-violence." Well, people get radicalized by just listening to people in the alt-right. You know, do you think that the guy from New Zealand? Do you really believe that he was radicalized by Candace Owens? Maybe. It's possible. You know, when these guys like that get so upset or emotional, it might. Oh, I got some gnats in here. Everybody's, like I said, everybody's doing their lawn, and now I'm getting their shit. So, I don't know. Let me know what you know. Let me know down low in the comments if you see what I see. Like I said on this channel, I try to be optimistic. I think that there are great people in whatever this movement is, that we can get out of it in some way. That we can, maybe we can't win the demographics race, but maybe we get to the point where we can be closer together and have a decent power area. You know, at some point we're going to have it. You know, it's just funny now when these people are alt-lights, and even people like David Rubin, who are classic liberals, are in their people's cars crash hairs. Even a Jew like Rubin could lose his channel because the ADL doesn't like anybody to say anything different about Israel or anybody. I think that if you sat down, I mean, Rubin actually sit there and talked to Milo Yiannopoulos about this, and Yiannopoulos said that Jewish people do all this stuff, and all the thing that basically that Milo said was in those bills from Congress 6-7 months ago, and it's now in Florida as well, and our governor signed it off in Israel. He used our tax dollars to go to fucking Israel to sign this, and I don't think anybody in Israel thinks that anybody in Florida, or that some people in Florida are so anti-Semitic that we can never have a Jew to come in our country or into our state. It's like this, the idea that they're so the victims all the fucking time, and it's before the Holocaust. All you gotta do is do your freaking research, and you can see that they've been continually saying that they've been victims of genocides forever. It's part of their playbook. And I know that this could get me in trouble for saying it, but it is what it is. You know, I think they're taught to do this shit. In fact, I know in some ways that they are. It's like the Muslims say, we're going to breed you out of existence. We're going to have so many babies, and we're going to win it through the popular way then. You know, we'll have so much money or so much people that we can vote you out, and then we're going to have our people, like in London. They have a mayor who's Muslim. Jews don't really procreate at the same level, I guess. So they can't do it that way. So they have influence because of the power they have, the money that they have. And some of them very smart. And whitey, like us, are stupid, naive, virtuous. And we allow this shit to happen and say, oh, it's just that one guy. The ADL, the SPLC, all these people that are just saying you can't say shit like this are all just, and the tech companies use them as their walls to what's good is what's not good. It's like Sarkeesian, the feminist, she's part of that. She went to the UN saying all this shit that women have to go online, that men never have any problems going on online, the abuse that we get. I mean, I've been called everything on this channel. Like I said, I have no outreach, but some people get my video, and I've been called everything. So it is what it is. I'm more than happy to have a conversation against anybody. I don't care if you're the biggest communist in the world. I don't know what I am, but I'm not going to be guilty for what I look like, or my father and mother who created me, and going back and back and back and back, and where they come from. And without them, all those people, I have to acknowledge that and say that they did something great. Maybe not me personally, but they did a lot of great things to get me where I am right now. I mean, I wouldn't be there without them. You know what I'm saying? It's just when people like Owen Benjamin says you can't have white pride. Well, it's not really what we're talking about. We don't want our race and our culture to be destroyed. All the stuff that we did, and we'll just give it away. So anyway, just let me know down below, and we can talk about it there. I can't deal with these freaking gnats anymore, so I'm out of here. You guys have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.